Yo, what's up, guys? My name is GLOCO. Welcome back to more The Letter. We're now continuing off from where we left off in Ashton's chapter. By the way, we are live on Twitch right now. Twitch peeps, say hello to the YouTube peeps. YouTube peeps, say hello to the Twitch peeps. I don't know how you guys are gonna do that, but because my chat is turned off. Here. Let me show you the chat for a bit. Boom, there you go. Okay, but anyway, we're gonna continue on. What happened last time? Last time, Ashton actually had a fateful encounter with the ghost bitch. And the best part was he was together with Isabella. Alright, so Isabella had a good laugh after seeing Ashton's reaction to the paranormal. And that is it, and we are now here in Wait a moment. This is Isabella's apartment. What is Ashton doing in Isabella's apartment? We're gonna find out. Here we go, boys. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams from the open windows when the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment! By the way, Twitch peeps, is my mic okay? Is it good? Do let me know. Alright. Is it loud enough? Clear enough? Let me know. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She's hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head, while she continues to rest. Then, to the chaos of papers and folders we've left scattered over it, before sleep has claimed both of— Oh yeah, they were gathering documents from Briar Realty Corp. And now they were sorting everything out here in Isabella's apartment. Is it actually okay to... Her underwear is everywhere. Okay. Alright, the mic is good according to the Twitch peeps. Thank you. We've bunkered down here last night after both our nerves have calmed down. Mine, for the most part. Staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that, that woman. Ha! Fucking Isabella has been staying alone in her apartment even, since day one of that ghost bitch, Ashton. Scaredy cat. Is she still one in the first? Like, what? Is she still one in the first place? One that we'd normally call a human? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck. I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about this still matters when all our lives are in our hands. Her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, will definitely be pushing daisies soon. And I can't let that happen. I've dallied on this long enough. Left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. At this light against my hand when I reach for it. It has caught my eye the night before, but with a lot we still need to go through, I've just simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned on the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
Ooh, nice. I've only ever heard her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She rarely goes about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It has been 5 years after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversation between her and Zach to know she has never given up on it. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound, coming from a friend, I'd like to give her the chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring out what the hell is this curse and shit, well, I'll do so. If only to see that smile on her from that time again. Yeah, I haven't seen that flashback from Ashton when she saw Isabella's smile. Or maybe we were just talking about Isabella's smile in general. I don't know. These days, the only moment she seems to show it is when she's asleep. Like, right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. A smile of my own forms despite this, when I glance at her sleeping form again. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it, carefully, so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself off my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her off from the floor and over to her bed, but doesn't wake. She simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers I pull over her. Briefly though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
Becca. She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after. Like, it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movement earlier. But the small smile on her lips remain. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about our problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing I don't want to take away from her. A moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it after everything she has been put through, what I've put her through. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. Cold Luxborn air meets me upon stepping out of the hallway. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxborn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky is still clear, but I'll give it a day or 2 before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world where I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. Yep, that's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse. But that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so that I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
Exactly, Ashton. What does Zach? What does Rebecca? Well, the G-Man has mentioned dreaming about a woman. Whether it's the same one we've been seeing, well, I've yet to ask. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer. A way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? Well, one thing's clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of that letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She will go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this when there's a 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. It's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. We'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. Well, these days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times just to be sure she has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently. Well, since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute, concern has mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my first fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up. I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy.
Pretty boy.
So if you can do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
Wow. Well, my hand pauses short of landing on another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day? Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks. But what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the four walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
Yes. And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. Must have missed her by an hour or so, but at least she's not alone. She should be safe, in theory. More so if the person she's meeting with is who I think I'm thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thoughts. Back brashly to find out where she is and go straight there without deliberating on my action first. There's also that to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early, any other reason I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment, something I most certainly can't afford to lose at in any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for me, to muddle, for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on a group with only Zach's, Rebecca's, and Isabella's number listed. How convenient. Haven't even seen Abigail yet. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, blockmates from universities, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Well, unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. And honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now. But I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. And we're already far from the people we were back then. But that's more than enough reason to check on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it, instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring. In the silence of the hallway, its sounds alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2, 3. But when on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail. A cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a
What
message.
the hell? They're such good friends. Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. Oh, look at that! Look at little Becky! So this is what what do you call it? Oh shit. Marianne. No, was it Marianne? Oh god, I forgot the name of the wife, our mama, god damn it. The fucking Hannah. Hannah, right. She did say that Becky used to wear big glasses. Oh, you look so cute here. She's been my friend for the longest. Anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabella now too, of course, and I'll always be thankful for having them around. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and a horrible teen. Issues? I have too many of them to count and refuse to deal with them for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years thanks to the professor, mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school and neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was myself, wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was a selfish little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believe my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me. Snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees a chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nonetheless. I owe her a lot. Why aren't you dating her instead then, you little shit? That won't change. Aww.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail. Then, on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational. It doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah?
Yeah.
And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Alright. Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he has forgotten to charge it? Can't be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or a power bank in his bag, even if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. That is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile in an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said, and even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up if he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, it can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me the most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of a cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-headed, hot-tempered, and reckless rookie, up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Beck and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but that, he's probably the closest thing I'll call to a best friend. Though it's more than that. A camaraderie no words can express. He has my back and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Aww. Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone. No specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continue dialing for his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Rebecca. In the end, after the 3rd attempt with no one answering, I stop and move to cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. And that's exactly when the line finally connects. Before he even speaks, my question has already slipped out, including every pent-up worry and tension in my body.
Where are you?
The line's choppy, though I can still make out the words he's saying. Nothing to worry about then. It's just some place where network coverage is shitty. Can't imagine where at this time of the morning, though. Did he go out for a jog?
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
I've meant that to sound as friendly as possible, to keep things light at least. Well, instead, only the frustration shows in my tone.
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you.
All over the mansion? What?
I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even...
Please don't tell me that's his plan. A morning visit to the mansion where Luke Wright is? Of all the pig-headed things to do right now, it's the best thing he can come up with? Breaking and entering? I've got plenty of reasons to rail him at... I've got plenty of reasons to rail at him right now. Although no matter how much I want to give him a piece of my mind, Unfortunately, it's not the time.
No. No, wait. Just get your ass to Isabella's place and hurry.
He pauses a moment, a second of indecision while he seems to contemplate his options.
How urgent is this?
In truth, the question, the hesitance, and the indecision in his voice has caught me completely off guard, and understanding dawns on me. His decision to go there isn't one born out of stupid impulse. He must have found something. However, no matter how urgent it is, he still shouldn't have gone there, alone at that. Despite myself in that split second of comprehension, I allow it to show a weakness. A simple request brimming with every unease and disquiet causing turmoil within me since last night. It bears a selfish hope that he'll understand, even though the unstable signal that whatever's keeping him there, he'll be willing to set it aside for now.
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
Silence fills the other end of the line again. For a long moment, I assume he won't heed it and I'll have to drive him there myself, just to drag him away from whatever danger he's striking or skirting. Thankfully, he agrees.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Normally, I don't let myself a moment of respite in times like this. Gotta stay alert. Rebecca's still out there. Has yet to return any of my messages. But for the moment, I relish in it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do so since last night. Even the muscles in my shoulders have been complaining from all the tension I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxburn and Ansem isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during our drive. This city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only two people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair of either of them. With one last hopeful glance towards the open skies, I slip back into Isabella's apartment and close the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about.
You're up early. I thought you left.
Yes. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, that's become a common sight after the three of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me? I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her, if the timing for a joke isn't off or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to. Yet. Until Zach gets here or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
Aw, she leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them, so I won't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't even provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point for those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton!
Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca, Zach, Isabella?
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
Nani? The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I've fainted or something. The crease on her eyebrows grow deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she stands up and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first before I've gotten the chance to take in what she just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa. Champurrado! You know what's ironic? It's like the Twitch chat. Some of the viewers are actually eating champurrado right now. That is so nice. Look at that. Oh, I'm craving now. God, for those wondering, I haven't eaten champurrado yet. It's a delicacy here in the Philippines. It's how can I describe it? It's like rice porridge, but mixed in with some cocoa, some chocolate, and that's it. Chocolate porridge. That's the best thing I can describe it. Okay. Ah, shit. I want some champurrado now. Calming, comforting, despite the multitude of things bothering me. It certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. Exactly! Kudos to the Filipino devs for inserting this in. Though from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it and milk drizzled on top? You do not ask those questions, Ash. Just eat it. She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. So like, champurrado is only native to the Philippines? Is that it? Do foreigners or do Americans not eat chocolate porridge? Do they not have this a similar version of champurrado in other countries? I'm not sure. But anyway, that's it. Again, it's chocolate porridge. Just eat it. Find out for yourself. It's nice. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. As a background noise, the voices from it seems too cheerful. A welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she has finished off half of the bowl that she acknowledges the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then it closes. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet, sincerity that underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried.
Mm-hmm.
So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hand, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca's both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams, we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present, we have a chance of respite. Maybe the only one we'll ever have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us, quietly just sitting side by side like this without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella's never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope. Whether I allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me. Of course we take her offer! Eat that champurrado, boy!
Thank you.
Aha, yeah! The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from the jests and quips we've shared. Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing more, regardless of everything left unsaid. The slight of it breaks home. God, I'm serious. Once I'm done with this stream, I'm gonna go out in 7-Eleven. I'm gonna buy that instant champurrado. I'm gonna fucking buy one and eat one. Yeah. And yes, this is for the Twitch chat asking if a Filipino developer made this. Yes, the Yang Mobile Boys. All right. Anyway, God, I really miss champurrado. It's been months since I last tasted champurrado. Oh man, I can actually taste it right now. The nostalgia. Shit. This is so nice. Anyway, let's continue. More so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after. As we finish our food, there's ease in it. In the muffled sounds of Luxborn filtering into the room. In the light streaming from our windows and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils over her hair. In the way her voice falters when she tries to form words, and despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute pause in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day, he'll eventually...
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
Hey, you still have your 7 brothers and sisters, yo.
You have that scholarship from LuxU.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open. Right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I've placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too...
I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden, too heavy to impose upon her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say it nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine, most of all.
You.
Huh? Are you gonna confess?
You have us.
The words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology up my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Oh, she's smiling. Something distinctly softer. More tender, sorry. Familiar. Almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago. That day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance figure out what it all means for her. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, and just as fast, both our attention shifts toward the source. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I fling the door open, a whole chunk of the stone that has been stuck at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet crosses the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look, one that has a hint of panic in it.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zach. Morning.
His weight shifts at the same time the stiff line in his shoulder eases, once Isabella walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns her greeting in kind as soon as he lets out of the breath he has been holding and the tension's finally off his body.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Anslim alone for some godforsaken reason warrants a proper one. Ghosts or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end that this might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah Wright. Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece by some dumb luck. He's alright, and this takes one off the list of people I need to worry about it. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in the exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. So the first things first, some things still need to be discussed. You're okay, dude. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little plan, we've had so many close calls within just a single night. Zach showing up in Isabella's doorstep alive, whole, and unharmed? I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Yeah. Suddenly, the whole room feels too heavy, and all I am able to do is to drop down on the couch. A headache also threatens to burst in the same moment. Or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like. Regardless, I reach up a hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even it will likely do nothing to elevate the impeding pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried!
Unexpectedly, he laughs, not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one. Before my annoyance grows again and I snap at him, though, he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckle against my skull. Noogies! Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer.
Zach!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
Let go!
He relents soon enough, though only after he's done ample damage in my hair. I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up, and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier. Still.
Seriously, Zach. Why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry. I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Partly, this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can't berate him for assuming that when I've only left him with vague answers.
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the attention-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head, then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my word can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. Can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all of the flashes fleetingly across her face before it melts away under an expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that.
Sup, I'm Ash from the
Abruptly, my
City.
phone rings again,
Baggers,
blaring
watch
its
out.
badly
Can't
sang
beat me.
ringtone throughout
Looking
the
for
whole
trouble?
room.
Better not
Both of them
lie.
pauses,
I'm a
waiting
cool dude.
when I pull it up to check the
Pretty fine
caller
for an
ID.
Asian
It's
guy.
Becca.
Nice.
Sup, I'm Ash
I'll
from
tell her to
the
get here as soon as she
City.
can.
Baggers,
Excuse me.
watch out. Can't beat me.
Without another
Looking for
word, I step
trouble?
out of the room
Better
and
not
answer the
lie.
call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I am hoping to hear.
Becca?
Hey, did I wake you up?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
No, I left you a voicemail, so I thought, where are you?
Ash, do you remember that one time?
Wait, what? No, wait, what? Wait, during our chapter with Becca, I remember that we got her out. We got her out of that mess. What the fuck happened? Wait, what, Nani? Wait. Wait a moment. Let me just check Rebecca's... I didn't kill her, right? She didn't die? I don't... Nani? Oh god. It's been such a long time since it... What? Oh shit! Oh shit! No, this is not the ending. That wasn't... Oh shit, I know what happened. Oh my god, I know what happened. Okay, I know what the fuck happened. I was curious about Rebecca's death. And then I continued the game during our last stream of Ashton. And it continued from where fucking Becca died. Cause see this was supposed to be the ending we were supposed to follow. Ending one towards Ashton. No death. Oh fuck me. No way. No fucking way, man. Oh god, we have to, oh no, nobody's dying. Fuck this shit. Oh god, guys, no. You know what, we're gonna save it here, just in case. We're gonna go back to Rebecca. Oh my god! Becca! Wait, I'm gonna load something. Maybe I can load it here. Yes, load Gamefly. This is so 2017. I know, right? Oh, okay. I loaded the wrong fucking file. I loaded the wrong file. Okay, I loaded the wrong file. This was supposed to be the file we were gonna use for Ashton. This one. This thing. Ah. Okay, we're just gonna skip everything. Okay, Ashton. Alright, it's gonna be a long while. Don't worry. This is it. This is the right save file. See this? See this? There you go. Oh my god!
Please tell me he's joking.
No, but Zach?
She never gets to finish that. Problem. Okay, here we go. Yay! Becca's calling! Well then, pause while waiting for an call like that.
I'll tell her to
Becca,
get here as soon as she can. Excuse me.
without another word, I step out the room and answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
There you go, she's alive! Woo! Yeah! Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you two.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here, and the second she steps into the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Wow!
Ashton checked on you this morning, but...
Fast travel, boys. Alright.
He did? I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
Oh, it looks so nice seeing all 3 of them, actually 4 of them together in one room. It's so nice.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction. The younger woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a careful observation, nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has, noticeable once Isabella leads her into the room. It all sprouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. Yeah, she was running away from the ghost bitch, guys. Alright? I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the question, They have a nasty way of staying hidden. So, sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabella to a halt. Both of them turn to me almost the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. But that someone also has to make sure. Are you alright?
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back, if Zach hadn't caught her by the elbow. Even with 2 more people shooting her concerned looks, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabella doesn't buy any of it either.
In a library?
Exactly.
Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a glance at everyone in the room, but only the one she spares for Isabella lingers longer. And in that moment, something unspoken passes between them. An understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us has been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Hell yeah, Zach.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you. Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Well, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
It's more like Becca's not afraid at all. She's just angry at the ghost bitch.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Oh, hell, she actually did hit her with a book.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dead. Another close call, another we'll have. Another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air. Like, I mean, seriously, as well. Guys, you know what? One of my greatest fears in life is to see a ghost. If I ever see a ghost and it starts hunting me for the rest of my life, I'd rather kill myself, probably, or I'll probably go crazy. Seriously, guys, I can't handle that shit. Something I can't physically deal by myself, that's something I don't want to deal with at all. Okay.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
Knock on wood. At least, hell, that marks everything, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room, sorry. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first. The whole conversation gains stem once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. Gain steam, there you go. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman and his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least, that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Oh, nighttime. Nice. Yet, even as a cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked them out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man. Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work? They're like, send it to 5 people, right? 5 people or 10? I forgot. And it's already done. Or else, what?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Maybe there's more than one of it. Even my friend, the priest from the cathedral. He's been acting strangely.
Father Norman? Him too?
Yeah, I visited him a few days ago. He was hysterical. They think he's sick, but I have a feeling what might the real cause be.
I knew it. I shouldn't have asked for his help.
He was only trying to help too. It's not your fault. There might be more than one of that paper going around that we don't know about. More to this. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca's brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrows with each line it passes, but lingers at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Exactly. Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else will this tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Somehow, even with all this information in hand, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde mansion. Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I... The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she will get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up on me. What? Waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few.
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. Oh, come on, really? The ghost bitch is gonna attack us where all four of us are here? Nani? A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the three of them are on their feet while I quickly pound for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amid the sudden hush, the four of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella's unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension, already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
Gotta kill it!
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my head. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door. Louder and louder, the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. Nothing. Look at that shit. Right away, part of the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No fucking ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. But everyone else in the room fucking heard and shit that noise, yeah? Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders, and...
We should go. Everyone, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankles and yanks. Oh shit! Hello? The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against floor with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then, I sense it. A cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening. A foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience. Hey there, girl! It's been such a long time! Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless, my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the—
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and its instincts kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. This is fucked up! Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading everyone out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while, I'm driving us out of Salemville. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Wow, guys, wow. Wow, holy shit, that woman, that ghost bitch. Doesn't even care if like all four of them are there. At this point, I'm thinking that Ghost Girl or Ghost Bitch just trolling them, you know, just messing with their heads and shit. Anyway, a dreary downpour starts off the Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peeks over the horizon. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often marks the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time was dispatched a scene where a guy gouged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. Wow. Holy shit. Was a few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can stop getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. It's top. This is the sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just put the icing on the cake? So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff, and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents that are every available surface, scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better, saying that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting, and about how I reek and how I need to shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
Yes, it's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle, and that horrid smell she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory's enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my oh, it's a 45. Nice. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off Opelia's surface. Normally, I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxborn police regulations only allows authorized people to carry firearms, even those are limited. I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for for its use. And the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid has its uses too. On a ghost, though, all of those will probably yield the same result. Really? Will, probably? They're all useless. I might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, or what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness that I at least have something to protect myself with in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off though. The feeling that your whole body has been strained for beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still in order though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out of my car, closing it behind me with a thud as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxborn normal. In the distance, beyond the buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing
A
in.
storm might be due this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. I'm not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in, taking in the peace as if it will be my last. But, as with all the good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them, Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salemville, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure of if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted the decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them for a group of friends on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks. Something funny or amusing, probably because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life and death situation the way they're acting now. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulder, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Ah, hey, look at that shit. It's like beef sukiyaki or something. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry looking vegetables seem appetizing. Yeah, beef sukiyaki. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. The rest of them appear to be on the same mind too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. Weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift in the mood. Back to dismal, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance, always busy on some project or work, the things we've taken for granted. Now we're realizing how valuable they are. The world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This, dead people. The letter, the curse. It's not simple to bring this up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
I don't know. It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look at me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, but back when I was at the top of my game and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella.
Ooh.
Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
Hey, shh, Becca. Hey, let's calm down.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Exactly.
Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have.
Hey, you two. None of us want to die to this. Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
Hey, we're in everyone's side, Becca. Stop bitching.
No one's. But we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and both you and Ashton...
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
Becca, blaming each other and turning on each other is the last thing we should be even doing to each other. What the fuck are you... Stop bitching, Becca! I actually had to replay the fucking save file just to save your ass. God.
And you're not?
Yan. Tell her, Isabella.
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
Yeah.
So now you're throwing it back at us? We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh!
No, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already.
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough.
Yeah, Ashton, go! You're stunned!
Everyone, shut up!
They all falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. Holy shit, what is happening? I do not mean to shout, snap at them to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when anytime, anywhere she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are playing the blame game. Little by little, we're all falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think right. Can't even believe the next words coming out of my mouth. That out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more, therefore, than mine. Keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I am angry at. The ghost? At them? Or maybe at myself for being this useless? Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit, they're still counting on me. In spite of my failures or every harsh word I've uttered or how unbearable I can be as a friend, it's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet, it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even though my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. So, in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. Might as well just throw ourselves at the ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's a very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night. But it's safe. Or as safe as it can be with G security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G, or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges, sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folks of the city. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor. Cares to some extent for people he likely only sees once or twice a week or on a bad day. Nothing the best job in the world in my opinion, but... Sorry, not the best job in the world in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there is truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out of the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time, it's me. Opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help. When I'm met with a dead end in a case or I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything. And the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, likely prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me, once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow. Turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to keep my hands occupied, while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at the dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made a trip or sat here on the same spot just talking with the old man, I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet, oddly, it's the nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time, along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, though my lack of words, G doesn't say anything, although it's clear from the way his mouth has curved up in a tight frown that he has questions, a buckload of it actually. He wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work, grins, swipes, stash away, repeat, going through the motions with such familiarity it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? Especially if my assumption's correct and that the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse too? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. You have no idea, Ashton. But during the open house with Isabella, they may have seen the letter and... Oh shit, fuck!
Stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away, and if there are answers anywhere, it will be there. It should be there, where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There are others. What happened to us? I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion, And now there are the voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
Because you didn't listen.
Yes.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. At some point, they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her seeing the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
His hands is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. There is a relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. You know, he's like a reoccurring character, like a recycled character. Remember the chief? Remember the priest? And now this guy. It's just that he just arranges his hair and puts a mustache or something, or a beard, and then boom, it's a new character. But it's the same voice actor, guys. He pays homage to Jose Rizal as well. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people, after all, even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I've spent in the forest, there's only one other person who's keen as this old guy. The chief. Exactly, see? Funny and weird to some degree. I've pointed it out to him so many times before how much they look alike. See? See? Only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time out of respect for the guy, whatever it is. It's clear it's something he doesn't want to talk about. Hey, what if the chief and this bartender G and also the priest are actually triplets? That could be a possibility. Hey, who knows? Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has to glare down Pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head, no.
I heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since I closed that case. The one from 10 years ago with your professor friend.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards.
Nice.
Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really? I can use some right now, something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Oh, really?
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslem?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping prior back to a rack on his left. All while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in. The idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
It's not a prank! This must have been what Isabella felt the whole time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Poor Isabella. Now, it's too late. Yep, we're stuck in a never-ending nightmare. Where the only way out might be death or something. And like I've expected, G's reaction to it? An amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a scowl or a glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. And then, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, alright, good luck with that. You're on your own. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind used for shots and stemmed ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with his task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that. It's the wistful expression in him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
No, I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stopped calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for.
Yes. Oh shit.
What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
Sorry, I just turned off my light because it was, affecting my eyes. A significant pause follows at its heels. From both of us, he allows its meaning to sink in and spurs something in me. Steering, a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. So before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silverwares. He'll need those too once more of his patrons come in for lunch. Slow and easy. A sharp contrast with the strained air we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but one I allow myself to relish, if only because of its absence lately. The way things are now, this is almost a gift. So when it all ends with a loud shuffling of foot from the adjacent hallway, a sigh is all that leaves me. There's no need for me to look up to know who it is. Zach's treads alone are telling. There's always a weighted set to them. Steps that are taken with a lazy cadence, I don't know how to pronounce that. Like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In a place he's unfamiliar with, he also tends to linger, stand awkwardly at the sides as if he's all too afraid to break something. That, or he's waiting for a permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind to barrel headfirst into things or forego courtesy despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother Henning believes her fiery temperament or Isabella's rare displays of maturity appears at odds with her youth. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems, more so from the people I've grown closer to over the years. Walking contradictions, we all are. It's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place. But maybe, yes, maybe that's also exactly why. To some extent, there's still an understanding there, in knowing that no matter how long you've been together, or how familiar you are with the person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you, one can never fully know a person. True. Sometimes it works because they merely chose to stay. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hurtful words said. Joe Axe, thanks for subscribing, dude! Thank you. Really appreciate it. Sorry I haven't been reading the comment section. I mean the chat. I'm really engrossed in reading this. But thank you so much, Joe Axe, for subscribing. Really appreciate it. Hope we can play some games soon. Yeah, yep, YouTube peeps, we're still live. Okay, alright, let's continue on. Thank you again, Joe Axe. Sax, I don't know how you pronounce that. Right. Okay, anyway. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hurtful word said. Wait, what? What did Zach say? Fuck, I forgot. Anyway, this time I glanced at him, briefly gauging the mood. Not because reconciliation is an issue for me. Between us, it never will be. But somehow, this is another thing I'm all too afraid to see crumble in front of me. One wrong word, if this is going to end in another argument, we might as well stop as early as now. There's another long pause for him, during which he can't seem to figure out what to do with his hand. In the end, he chooses to stuff both into his pockets and trains his eyes at the now empty space behind the counter. Without our notice, Gia slipped back to the kitchen, leaving only the two of us and everything awkward in the world at the moment. Still, Zach trudges on, a hopeful tone slipping into his voice, simply because it's the only thing he knows to do.
Did you, get any sleep?
It's a start at least, a stiff one. But a start. The least I can offer in return is that rare honesty.
For a few hours, yeah.
Curt, brusque, not an ounce of friendliness in it. In spite of it, Zach takes it as a sign. Relief washes over him as his shoulders relax and he releases a tense breath. Soon, he's closing the distance he has put between us and flops onto the chair onto my right.
I think the better question is if the dreams are pleasant. And for the record, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get those a lot.
He shifts in his seat, drums his fingers on the counter for a short while, then falls silent. That's it. No apologies. Somehow, that short exchange is all we need. The air changes again, much like everything we've known lately. Maybe not for the better, not yet, however. Not yet. However, it's less suffocating with less hostility and resentment. The kind where it's easy to pretend, easy to forget. Not that it's a thing that will happen anytime soon, but one can dream. In a situation where death might come knocking at any time, it's this little hope we cling to. It's this little things we wish will happen again. I'm not an optimistic person by nature. Hopeful, maybe, but never optimistic. Though I want to believe there's a way we'll live through this nightmare. It's just funny how it all, took all of this to spur these kind of thoughts in me. I can't even remember the last time something like this has occurred to me. For some reason, after seeing one harrowing thing after another, I've simply forgotten.
Why are you suddenly smiling like that?
Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about something.
Well, it better be something that'll get us out of this mess.
What makes you think I know how to fix this? Until 2 days ago, I didn't even believe a word you guys have been telling me. Zach, I function better when I'm dealing with homicide cases. Hell, feel free to throw in the usual robbery and missing persons case into the mix. I don't care. Give me a few days and I'll give you a lead.
Oh.
This isn't how I operate. This isn't what I'm good at. For all you know, I might even end up getting us killed. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, the fact that you're frustrated but still trying already means something, Ash.
See, Zach is such a supportive friend.
Besides, you don't make that face unless you already have an idea. It can't be any worse than this. Maybe.
Tap.
What's on your mind, Ash?
There really is something about Z-Man. Between Rebecca and him, I tend to share with him things I won't normally say to the other. Unlike her, who pushes sometimes with the same tenacity as her moods, Zach has this strange tendency to ease people into telling him what he wants to know. Oftentimes, the question feels so subtle it catches me off guard, with less force and more forbearance. After all, out of everyone, he's the most grounded. Really, he's like the older brother I never had. The kind you can depend on when things go sour. The kind you tell things to simply because he'll listen, without forcing his own opinions on you.
We still have one more lead we haven't checked. I'm gonna look into it tonight.
Doesn't take him long to put 2 and 2 together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolves to worry the second he realizes what I meant. We've already examined the letter, read through piles of documents. There's really only one we haven't given a once over. The mansion. Of course, Zach may not be the kind to push, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady and on my feet through the years.
Hold on, didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright?
You're an unarmed civilian, Zach.
And so?
So, I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe. I probably won't take too long, but I don't know what might happen. I'm not even sure if I'll find something in there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, if that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out, no questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything.
He's not willing to concede, not from the manner he grips his knees or the rigid set to his jaw.
I'm going with you. You can't go in there alone, Ash. I heard something. The morning I was there, I heard someone scream and then there was a woman crying, and I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I am telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone.
Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of those times again where Zach means well, but he's completely missing the point I'm trying to make. When things take a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabella. How and where do I even start? Shit. Well, this is too freaking rude. We'll only get in the way. I'd feel better if I don't have to worry about you. There you go. There are only 2 ways this will end. I agree with him and take him with me, or I agree with him and drop the idea altogether. Neither appeals more than the other, especially when we're all desperate for an answer and a way out. If all it will take is a little more honesty to make him drop his harebrained idea, so be it.
Look, man. Bro. Z-Man.
Bro, yeah.
Zach. Zachary, listen.
But
I know you only want to help.
Like hell! This ain't just about helping, Ashton! You're throwing yourself in the thick of it, on your own!
Whoa, he's shouting.
Was your fall last night really that bad? Did you hit your head hard? I honestly can't tell if you've gone stupid or just plain suicidal.
My head's okay, Zach. But it won't stay that way if we don't do anything about this.
Then
Someone has to.
Seriously, this is already a desperate move. The longer we dally, the faster we're losing our options. Do we even have one? Looking back at it, this whole business with the ghost seems perfectly set up to drive us into a corner. Either until we lose our mind or she gets us. It's starting to feel as if there isn't an escape. We've already become her playthings the second Isabella found that letter. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking as well. Like, if the ghost bitch really wants them dead, she could have killed her like days ago, while they were still very, very vulnerable. But right now, she's just messing with them in some way. I don't know. That our lives are in her hands ticks me off big time. But the idea of watching the people I care about die helplessly, more so. They're much safer here than with me. It's a selfish thought, I know, born out of fear. So in case things go awry, the very last thing I want to happen is for Zach to take the fall with me. I've already made enough mistakes.
And that means it's just you.
Just me.
Suddenly, he clamps up. Although his actions, the restless shift in his shoulders, his mouth pressing close in a tight line, and how he starts off again in a quiet note, it all gives away his real thoughts, long before 2 words have even made out of his mouth.
I'm sure you already know about this. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. there'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry, I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed. I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
Another dead air follows at the heels of that one admission. The meaning of my words too heavy, too striking. It stuns us into another lull. Optimism aside, we're both aware that's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after. There will be the images, the voices whispering inside our heads, the foreboding feeling, the stench of blood, gore, and death trailing after us. We may survive this, but those things, they will remain in us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without it leaving something in you. Just the mere thought of what might come after right after makes me dread it. What this has changed in all of us. But I suppose that outcome is more acceptable. The lesser of two evils.
3 hours.
My head snaps up and I turn to him, puzzled. He's staring at his hands with a thoughtful expression, brows furrowed in deep concentration, like he's trying to choose the right words to convey what he's about to say.
3 hours? For what?
That's more than enough time to go there, to check things, like you said, and travel back here. If you don't show up here beyond that, I'm going after you.
From his tone, it sounds almost like a warning. I'm sure it's not his intention, but hearing something like that from a person like that, can't help but chuckle and throw in a jibe despite how dire things are. Just like the old times.
Make that 4.
What?
Bargaining?
You said you're just gonna check things. Why would you even need that long?
Speed limit? I'm a ranked law enforcement officer, Zach. I'm supposed to set an example.
I so wanna punch you right now.
I'd love to see that. Of course, Zach never carries it out, and like moments like this, it's just how he is. How we are. Unfortunately, G chooses the next moment to show up. He slams the flat of his palm on the counter and shooting us both a stern look. Although his tone's nothing short of jovial, the disapproval is clear in it. He's obviously misunderstanding the situation.
Boys, drummer's nice and all. I used to watch these bloody god-awful afternoon serials with one of my brothers many years ago. But listen, I am not having one in my pub, alright? You two want to fight? Go out.
A pregnant pause. Then without any preamble, Zach and I are both snickering and G's glower melts into confusion. When we both show no sign of stopping, he simply shakes his head and turns away. I'd like to think of it's better this way. Better than we part on light terms, so Zach won't have to see every little insecurity, every little doubt in me right now. He's seen enough. The last thing I want him to glimpse is another display of weakness. Not when he still stares at me with the same unerring confidence in his eyes. When our mirth dies down, before anything can be said further, before I change my mind, I step away from them, giving Zach's shoulder a quick few pats, mumbling a lame excuse about taking another short nap under my breath. Altogether, burying the stray thought that flashes fleetingly in my head. Here we go, boys. Zach has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of it matter now? The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it is, it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on a week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. With the kind of a danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Yeah, what? Ooh, another question forms in my head along with a small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irate voice rings out from some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up in the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there.
But we don't have any other choice, Becca! There's really no other way! We have to go there! If you'll just...
Isabella, no.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or both giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. Wow, girl fights, boys. I have hope that the bad blood from this morning will simply blow over after all of us has gotten a decent rest. I should have expected things won't be the same with him as it was with Zach and I. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zach or I meddling, but the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing.
Yes.
Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always have to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. But part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get this over it before it turns into a shitstorm. Alright. And I know both of them well. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other childlike demeanor, it's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Hell yeah! Oh shit! Oh god. More rebuttals. The cat fight isn't over yet, boys. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. I can't speak for Isabella, I rarely ever see her seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up at the red head from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled in the corner of the table they occupy, a conversation that turned sour sometime after a late lunch. What, you gotta point that out as well? Good thing they've already done and nothing left to be spilled. Because in the next moment before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily, we both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this let a ghost everything.
You're... no voice. You're blaming me again?
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess.
You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you! If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish.
I'm the one who's selfish. Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
Oh shit! Oh come on, Becca, take that back. Oh man, that's not something you say to a friend. Oh what is this heavy tension? Damn. God.
You know why I had to come here. My dad.
Your dad has nothing to do with this.
Shit. Becca. Oh.
It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca slammed the flat of her hand on the table or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of it digging a wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavily. I think a lot of us have friends who are like Becca. Friends who are like Isabella. But I've seen friends like Becca so many times before already. I know that kind of... My girlfriend is like Becca. And I still love her. But when she gets angry, oh god, dude, you better run, man. Anyway, despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. A strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break until the ones in the center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. And a woman who fucking throws books at ghost bitches. She's never going to back down from this. Not when she knows she has a point. Isabel, on the other hand, there has always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it's what has gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has, when you have nothing else, people tend to cling on to when they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns so useless, a kind of awareness almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches towards the exit in fast, rigid steps, away from the hurt and painful words that fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in at the last moment, and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. Surprise flits across her face, an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Oh no! Kasi selos siya kay Isabella! Oh no! Oh yes! Alright, guys. A little bit of jealousy is gonna be brewing here, boys. Here we go. Neither of them have noticed me. However, that doesn't mean I won't have things to say about this. Oh no! What? Nanikule! No, why do I have to choose between them? Fuck! Fuck this game! God damn it! Take Isabella aside, I agree with Rebecca. Take Isabella aside, I agree with Rebecca. Take Isabella aside, I agree with Rebecca. You know what? If this was a YouTube VOD video and I'm not streaming this, I would end this right here as a fucking cliffhanger. But no! We won't do that. You know what I'm gonna do? You gotta fucking save, that's what. Save it here, just in case I fuck everything up. But god damn it, why do I have to choose between the two? Fuck. You know, although my girlfriend resembles Rebecca in some way, right now, God, Rebecca was being such a bitch towards Isabella with all those hurtful words, so, God, this isn't the time to take sides. Know what? Para sa ating bayan, mga Pinoy! Take Isabella aside! And also, Becca was being such a bitch. Okay, Becca was being such a bitch. All right, Isabella's has been through so much already. So much. She didn't deserve those words. So we're gonna comfort Isabella. Okay. 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 All right, we're good. Champurado pinili ni GLOCO. Alright, the Twitch chat is more like, oh, choose the one with the bigger boobs and shit. Fuck you guys. Alright, anyway. You okay? Rather than answer, once her shock subsides, she merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks like she only noticed them in that moment. Then, without another word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out in a ragged except parang ganito. Something like that. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy. Usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things though, and my disapproval must be clear enough on my face. When she finally glances back at me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth curving down to a tight frown. I cross my arm in response, waiting a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything. Not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare each other down, but eventually she breathes out again and relaxes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash? If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
Did you really have to say it like that?
No.
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants? I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. Even for you.
Yeah, I could have convinced her in another way.
We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do was stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly. I know you mean well and you do have a point, but please be a little more thoughtful next time. Go think about it for a while.
By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least it's how it seems when a minute or two passes and she says nothing. A rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes, one that quickly disappears until only a vague notion of it remains in memory. But in that one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years. We will never be the same person we once were. And if it's for the better, we've yet to know. A lull has descended into the main lunch once I return. G's nowhere to be seen. People continue to trickle out instead of in. And by the time I get back, only 2 tables remain occupied. Soon these people too will be gone, and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. So wait, what the fuck? Did you not chase after Isabella? What if she went to the freaking mansion alone and stuff? God damn it. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entire different vibe. Along with the soothing strum of strings and the steady beat of drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from time I've been here before. And perhaps it's for this reason why Isabella has chosen this place to retreat. Oh, okay. Thank God she didn't go and run out alone. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, in one of the tables set right beside the windows. G usually keeps the curtains closed around this hour, but a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy streets outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pulling on the surface of the table, where both her arms rest. In her hands, she flips a piece of folded paper, turning it from one side to the other without any purpose. The letter. A small frown creases her forehead while she stares at it, yet there's something oddly tranquil in the picture she has unknowingly painted. Something I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. It's one of those moments again. The rare ones. The ones where she's too still, too quiet, a complete opposite of her usual self. But it's this that often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short few seconds of wordless silence when the softest sighs and the slightest movements sing louder. The smallest minuscule things that tell you about the person and her strength more than any words can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. She glares at me, annoyed, and just like that, all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by the teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to, what's easy, what's familiar, where every truth we hope to convey regrettably goes unsaid between us.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe. Who wouldn't be? While I do agree with Rebecca, her words still hit below the belt. Regardless, Isabella doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me, at least compared to every other people I've aggravated, intentional or otherwise. Some light talk may just do the trick and coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to OG a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
She levels a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I've just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now. She needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
I really don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online.
Wow!
Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet it sounds half-hearted at best. Like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her, and all that's left are the words. Pretty soon those two will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's already unusual to see her like this. Everything has already gone to shit. Like at least it's one thing to stay normal. So somehow we manage. We continue for the better half of the hour, talking, joking with her short, feeble responses and banter that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amid the chaos and death shouting over us, it's these little inconsequential moments that matter. It's her smile, her laughter when it finally rings. Easy and free of burden.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
A pause, and then she frowns as a realization slowly dawns on her. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before eventually settling on a grimace. Suddenly, she hugs her arms closer to herself and looks away, perhaps in her best attempt to stay angry. That's so cute. To no avail. In a matter of seconds, her shoulders shake with the laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful, and I really hate you. Just leave.
It's contagious, her mirth. Soon I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us. Laughing without reservation or care, until only a familiar warmth lingers, once both our amusement ebbs away. Somehow, with her, these things have always come easy.
Feeling better?
A little. You're still lame.
But you're laughing right now.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked. That would have been really messy and ugly.
If glares can kill with the one she sends my way, I'll probably be dead by now. Seeing it directed my way takes only a few quick seconds for me to realize how she might have also taken my statement. How wrong and rude it might have sounded in her ears. However unintentional it is. I've never been good with words, but that's never an acceptable excuse, is it? Is it? Yeah. Suddenly, taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? God, crap. Damn it, that was so not what I meant. I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified, like the brewing storm. In the face of it, under the sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, I do what any person with a good sense of self-preservation does. Keep my mouth shut and shift my attention elsewhere. The crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should...
Thanks, Ash.
She utters all of it in a voice too small, too quiet. But when I turn to her, only those words, her gratitude, resonate throughout the whole room. Not the soft clinking of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her gaze, as she holds mine that lingers. Steady, unflinching, and open, in the same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then. How easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve, how she never shies away from expressing herself even among people she barely knows, how she can go through everything without losing herself. Now it's among the hundreds, the thousands that hang unspoken between us, trivial little things with words still too big to put into words, either because it's too early or because there's never really a proper time. For now though, this will do, until the moment itself dwindles, until reality pulls us back in, reminding us of the things we've set aside in its favor.
Isabella, about what happened with Rebecca earlier.
I should probably apologize to Becca. I know she only means well, and I said some really bad things.
The corners of her mouth quirks up, almost as if she's too ashamed of the things she said.
Don't worry, she can be pretty stubborn, but she'll listen. Especially to you.
You think?
You're one of the few people she likes. She won't stay angry for long, I can vouch for it.
She has a point though. Isabella freezes in an instant, the pleasant air around us dissipates. She shifts her attention back to her hands again, both clenched so tightly that her knuckles visibly pale.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there. That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need. I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not that I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have after all. But Rebecca also has a point. I will always agree with, no matter how desperate I am. It's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there. If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone. Exactly as I have told the Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, as despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Anything to keep her safe. I can't let you
do that, Belle.
Ash, the people living in that place now. They were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. We don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it. To put yourself in harm's way like that.
She offers no response, not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I've come to expect from her. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin till the air in the whole room grows heavy. In front of her, her hand still stays curled up, like it's holding onto everything she wishes to say, but can't. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma's clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it. Her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument. If she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod, an acquiesce. I don't know how to pronounce that. And in a moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, taking her clenched fists in mine and drawing them closer to me. She sucks in a breath, soft and sharp, but doesn't say anything, merely watching as both my hands cradle hers. Cautious, mindful, as if it's the most precious thing I've held. Then again, maybe it is. Along with everything I've yet to convey.
Stop that.
Eh? Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields, allows a touch that is far too familiar and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently, I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Oh! Her nails have already created small dents on her skin from how tightly she has held it close. A little more and she would have drawn blood. Deep as it is, smoothing a thumb over the tiny marks does nothing. But it's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst this chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens, the lines of her shoulders ease, and it is only after her lips curve up in a faint smile that I let go, giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her, admit that it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do though? I've already told Zach one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much will just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least off where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. It's best that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I stand up as soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts a nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eyes. Their fights never did last long.
Belle, can we talk?
No.
Alone?
Oh. Her interruption could not have come sooner, and I'm all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of a friendship I share with this two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider. They don't need me here. That's all the reason I need. Muttering an excuse and flashing Isabella a quick knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over, before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory. One that spurs the conscience among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Alright, here we go! Galwell's Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover. Okay, I'm gonna take a short break. Alright, we're gonna continue. I'm gonna short break. Just a short break. And I'm gonna shout everyone out that's still, watching me here in Twitch.